Well, good evening. A surprise decision causing victims' families to erupt in applause today in Schoharie County Court as a judge chose not to accept a plea deal that would have given Nauman Hussein, a man accused in the deaths of 20 people in that Schoharie limo crash, just 5 years probation and no prison time.
The rare action by Judge Peter Lynch left one half of the courtroom elated, the other half stunned and in tears. The defense chose not to accept the judge's the judge's sentence of 1 to 4 years in prison after Hussein pleaded guilty to 20 counts of criminally negligent homicide and moved to take the case to a jury trial. Before that extraordinary reversal, the courtroom heard harrowing victim impact statements from the victims' families, read straight to Hussein, the man accused of operating the limo that should never have been on the road.
Nauman, why not make a statement to the victims today?
Our cameras followed Nauman Hussein out of the courthouse moments after learning his plea deal had fallen apart. The decision leaving his defense attorneys dumbfounded.
Unheard of. Absolutely unheard of.
After 4 years of fighting, the case against Hussein will now go to trial. But it wouldn't have happened without the judge's decision to erase the plea agreement between prosecutors and the defense, which would have allowed Hussein to serve his sentence at home on probation. But the judge said no.
I am not going to abide by the plea agreement.
Judge Peter Lynch's decision came after some of the relatives of the 20 victims gave gut-wrenching impact statements.
And most tragically, he left children, orphans, without their mothers or their fathers.
The courtroom in tears as the mother of Shane McGowan spoke about the loss of her son and daughter-in-law, newlyweds, and about how the justice system failed them all. Matthew Kuhn's mother calling on Hussein to address the people whose lives he helped destroy.
And here we are 4 years later, and no one has been accountable for this horrific crime.
Words of anger turned to tears of gratitude as the judge gave Hussein a choice: 4 years in prison or a jury trial. Hussein choosing the latter. He never addressed the families in court.
Why not say something to the victims? You've never said anything to the victims before. Why not say something now?
And he didn't stop after. Families of the victims applauded the judge's decision inside of the courtroom and were seen crying and hugging outside. They collectively decided not to speak to the media because of pending litigation.
So you are going to fight the judge on this decision?
As I said, we're exploring everything. We haven't made any decisions yet. This is all new, about 15 minutes old.
Hussein's defense attorneys told reporters they question the judge's actions and said they believe New York State bears blame for one of the worst limo crashes the nation's ever seen.
What we have never heard from the day this happened until right now is who in the state got reprimanded, got fired, got demoted, got punished in any way. Everybody in the world seems to be happy to point at the defendant and say, well, it was entirely his fault, when all the proof points in the exact opposite direction and says, you know what, other people are to blame for this.
The next hearing for Hussein is September 14th, when the judge will work with attorneys to set the trial date.
Congresswoman Elise Stefanik reacting to the court proceedings today. She says rejecting the plea deal will help the families get accountability. And, quote, not only must Hussein be held fully accountable and serve prison time for his involvement, but the FBI must also answer for their mishandling of their longtime informant, his associates, and their history of breaking the law.